Hamvention is upon us, everybody, and when you get this close to an event with so many radioactive people, you have to start thinking about communication plans. And so we have a couple of things. I have consulted with the YouTube creators on amateur radio that are going to be at Hamvention. We're also checked in a little bit with the Hamvention folks, and we have a really, really cool update from Meshtastic that will make all of our communication problems just so easy. So anyway, I'm going to first mention for our YouTube creators, 146.450 on 2 meters is going to be our primary channel. We're going to play around with 1.5 meters. You can find us on 223.500 megahertz simplex. Those are your first 2 frequencies you should load on your radio. Let me show you what that looks like, because it's could not be simpler, assuming you have a radio that does 220. If you don't, though, let's just do 2 meters right now, and I'll show you how that works. If you have a VHF, UHF radio, you're going to want to tune to the frequency. In this case, we're a little bit off of it. 146.450 is what we want. And then likely you need to hit the MR button. Well, you're going to have something that's like memory save. MR is pretty common. If you hold that down, it's going to say, yeah, write to a new channel. That's exactly what we want to do. So we're going to do that. It's going to go to usually your empty channel. You save that. Yep, I'd like to save it there. And there we go. If I hit MR now, we can go there, 146.450. If you want to have a little bit more fun with that, you can go back and hold down MR again, go to Edit, Quick, Name, and we're going to say Ham. I went too fast. Ham V. So there you go. We're going to save it. Yep. All right, so now we got Ham V on 146.450. This is going to be a little bit different depending on what radio you use, but it's going to be a similar process on the whole thing. And so now make sure that you are on FM. FM is going to be the mode of operation for that. That is going to be very important for operating when you are at Hamvention. Most people are going to be on FM. Now, there is actually a ton of frequencies that you can find on the Hamvention website if you're coming to Dayton. By the way, this is a good thing to do if you're going to any large event or if you're even at home, is to set up a comms plan, set up the frequencies you're going to use that you agree to with the people that you're going to most likely be communicating with. In this case, I'm going to be communicating with some Hamvention people, so I'm going to try and use their talk-in frequencies. So if you go to the hamburger menu for Hamvention, and you go to attendees, scroll down to talk-in right here, and you're going to get a really cool list of all the frequencies of the local repeaters. And yeah, they go well beyond 2 meters and 70 centimeters. You got 6 meters right there. You have a ton of 2 meters. You got 1.25. You have 70 centimeters, and they even have a P25 repeater available to you. So these are all the frequencies that you should lock into your radio if you're going to be coming out to Hamvention. This is the same kind of thing you might do if you're going to be like going to a location that you're not familiar with. Look up the local frequencies on repeaterbook.com. Go ahead and do a little bit of deep dive on what repeaters they have out there. Maybe program a lot of them into your radio so you'll at least have some capability to communicate when you're there. So those are some options for you as well. But what truly throws the whole game of communication into a somersault here is Hamvention Flasher for Meshtastic. And they created a whole new firmware as long as a web flasher with a special URL, which is in the video description, for you to download and flash your Meshtastic devices. I've already done it with 3 of my devices. It's worked out perfectly. I have a couple of things I'm going to tell you about to make it work like absolutely perfectly right out from the get-go. But let's just get started with talking about the T-Decks. I know there's a lot of people with T-Decks. We're going to do Heltek, we're going to do Wizblock, and we're going to do the seeds if you have those, because they're all slightly different, and I'm going to show you how to do them, okay? Let's grab a T-Deck first. All right, so T-Decks are pretty straightforward in this process. The way you're going to work with a T-Deck, a lot of times you have to set them into a like drive mode or a firmware flasher mode. And the way you do that is by manipulating the power button and holding down the little wheel, this little trackball thing. But what I want you to do before you even go down that realm is just plug straight into the USB and let's try to activate DFU mode via the web flasher before even trying this little complicated game here. Most of the time I've found that for the TDECs, that's the way to go. All right, so I have an old version of 2.6 Meshtastic on this device. I'm going to plug it straight into USB-C, and we should see some activity on the screen to the right. That is our device manager, right? And you should always have that open when you are connecting new devices to your computer so you know what the heck is going on. So I just plugged it in, and yeah, it freaked out. And it's telling me that I've got a new port on 17. So I'm going to go to Select Target Device. I'm going to scroll down to, or over to the right, to the LilyDeck TGO. I'm going to select, wait, I can't click anything under firmware. The next thing you normally click is firmware. So I've had this happen a couple of times. All you got to do is refresh the screen a couple of times until it comes back. It's going to forget your device. You're going to select it again. There it is. Hamvention firmware. So you're going to select that. Then you're going to go to Flash. And it's going to say, hey, this is experimental. Yep, very experimental. And I'm going to click the 1200 BPS reset button, right? And I'm going to match it to my node here, which is 17. I'm going to click that above my head, and I'm going to hit connect. And it might not change anything. Sometimes it does. Now it's saying 19 over on the very right-hand side. And I'm going to click update. And let's see what it does. So I'm going to say 19. If it's in my list, it should be. There it is. And I'm going to hit connect. And immediately we're flashing. So we've connected to this. The screen's gone black, and it's performing an update. You can see that happening right now. I would recommend going this route with the TDECs. The TDECs are the one that is probably the most seamless when it comes to this. Now, I screwed up. I didn't do a full erase and install and then click that Meshtastic UI button. So I'm going to do this again. I'm going to start over, and I'm going to click full erase and Meshtastic UI, and I'm going to hit start over again. And let's see if it does it. Erase and install. It's still there, so I'm going to try that. And it failed. Uh-oh. That's something I ran into earlier, so that's okay. We're just going to close this. We're going to refresh the website. I'm going to disconnect this guy, and I think he's pretty much cooked at this point. We'll see if he comes up with anything. Yeah, he's loading the old Meshtastic version without the UI, the enhanced UI. So, okay, no big deal, but kind of cool. It has a ham logo. It's literally a Meshtastic logo for ham radio. So you've hopefully screwed up the flashing on your TDEC into the non-UI version. What do? Well, you leave it on, you plug it back in, and you go back up to selected device, select the LilyDeck TDEC, make sure you select the Hamvention software, go to Flash, continue, this is experimental, do a 1200 BPS reset for the DFU mode. Now it says USB 17 in the lower right-hand corner. That's exactly what you want. You want it to have a new port. So we're going to find 17. Yep, I'm going to hit it. Did the thing. I'm going to hit full erase and install right there. And then I'm on the Meshtastic UI. I'm going to click that as well. And I'm going to hit erase and flash. Let's go. And new port shows up as 17. Yep, select that. Oh, it didn't like that. It said open serial port failed serial port. Okay, some big crash. So we're going to shut that down again. I'm going to close this. I'm going to refresh the page. And I'm going to plug this back in after restarting. Go ahead and restart it all the way. And you will get a fun little ham logo when it restarts. Pretty cool. Anyway, though, that's great for your Heltecs, but you don't want that for a TDEC. You don't want something that has the UI or is supposed to have the advanced UI to show that. That's not going to help you. So let's go back to the flasher. Again, 17, no problem. I'm going to go to TDEC. I'm going to select Hamvention Flash software. Yep, it's experimental. I'm going to go to 1200 BPS reset. I'm going to select 17. It did that. I'm going to hit full erase, Meshtastic UI, flash and install. We're going to go to 17, connect, and there it goes. It's now doing the update. Remember that a lot of the times the best thing to do is get the unit running, then plug it in, make sure your device manager shows it as a new port, and then do a DFU reset to make it a flashable device. That's really what's coming up. Now, the flip side of this is going to be your seed devices and your Wizblock devices. Those actually create directories which you need to save the firmware into. And you do need to be in DFU mode to do that, but there are sometimes some tricks you have to do to get it into DFU mode, which is going to be a bit different than you may do with some of the other flashers or normal Meshtastic flashers, again, from my experience. All right, so this one just flashed itself. It is done. Shows right there, 100% complete. So I'm going to unplug it, and I'll show you what you need to do for setup after. Good news is there's very little that you have to do. Next, however, though, I have a Wizblock device. This is the MusiWorks Wizblock device. So for this one, I do set it into DFU mode by double tapping the reset button twice. And to do that, I just take a 3.5 millimeter jack and I double tap. And what happens when you do that is the little green light should start kind of pulsing like you see there, right? Pretty easy. So I'm going to go back out here. I'm going to refresh this. Targeted device is going to be the Rack Wizblock 4631. I'm going to select that. Hamvention software. I'm going to plug in our device into USB-C. It already popped up. See, the directory just popped up. It should pop up as a D drive. That's how you do the Wizblock. So if your Wizblock has a reset button, they have like one button. You double tap it quickly double tap it until it starts pulsating, plug it in, and it should show up as kind of like a USB flash drive. So then for this one, all you need to do is go to flash. Yep, it's experimental. Go to download DFU. It's going to want you to point it to a drive, and you're going to point it at that D drive. So I'm going to say, okay, rack D, and I'm going to hit save. And so it's going to go off and download it. It's going to save it to that directory. Let it do its thing. It's going to take a minute. The device manager will refresh when it does it, and then just leave it alone. Don't do anything for like a minute or so until it fully goes through its process, and then you'll be good to go. Now, the one I had the most problem with, let's do a refresh here, is the seed devices. The seed devices were kind of a pain, and I'll tell you why. Is that they're really compact, right? So you got these seed cap devices with their little magnetic connective thing here. And so what you got to do, this is kind of fun. I watched a Chinese YouTube video on this. You connect the seed magnet cable, and it will turn off. You will lose the little flashing light. And so what you do is you hold down the button, and then with your finger, you're going to like tilt it off the magnet twice. Okay. You're going to tilt it off the magnet twice. And the green light, you're not going to see it, will immediately turn on, and we got the directory. That's how you enter DFU mode with these devices. So I'm going to, again, go to selected device. I'm going to scroll down until I find the seed card, which is right above my head. Select firmware. Oh, it's gone. It's not there. I'm clicking it. It's not doing anything. No problem. Just refresh the page again. We lose the device. Scroll down, click it. Still not there. Refresh it again. Select the device, seed, and still not there. Okay, what do? Just close the website. Close the website, and we're going to click on it again. Again, link is in the video description. If you need the website, go ahead and do that. I've had to do that multiple times for the seed. It's one of the downsides of it, but that's, what I had to do. Whatever. Your experience will vary. Click that guy. There's the firmware. He's right there. And I'm going to bring back my device manager now so you can see it like so. Hit flash. Remember, that device is still waiting to be loaded. So all I need to do is hit download UFT, and it's right there. There's the D. I'm going to hit save, and it'll start the download. So that's what I had to do with both of them. I'm going to show you really fast what to do with setup. The good news is, again, is that they did a ton of work on the setup. You have to do very little to make this work. It makes it very easy. Heltek's, you're next, so let's go ahead and do that now too. So the seed is rebooting right now. There's like 4 or 5 meshes that I'm going to have to program right now. I'm going to go ahead and do a refresh again. All All right, I think my last device is a Heltec device, this little 3D printed case I had. You enter DFU mode, which is basically flashing mode, by holding down the two user buttons. If it's just the bare board, there's two user clickable things. Sometimes I have a hard time doing this with one hand, so I got one, got the other, and then I'm going to plug it in. Yep. And we see a new Silicon Labs CP210X, right? That's it, right? It's the new port that appeared. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to select target. This time it is a Heltec V3. We're going to select firmware. It's the only one. It's the Hamvention Hamfest firmware. New updates. It's outing me. I'm doing this second day. I had some issues with the Heltec, but it's because I was doing it wrong as usual. Go ahead and start the erase flash. It's going to pop up a thing. What are we looking for? Port 21. Where's port 21? There it is, right above my head. And start. And sure enough, we are flashing, right? And then you just let it do its thing. So I'm going to let it finish up. While it's finishing up, I'm going to show you how to program these things. Surprise, surprise, there's very little you have to do, which actually is really, really nice. So we're going to take a quick walk around. I'll show you how to use it, and then hopefully I'll be talking to you face-to-face or maybe mesh-to-mesh at Hamvention. Now, I think this is pretty gosh darn simple, but, hey, people vary. Let's do the sense cap first. Both of these, this is the Wizblock and the sense cap. They're on the top of my little toolbox here. So I'm going to go into this guy. I actually don't know which one's which, and it really doesn't matter. In fact, let's just pull both of them out. We'll figure out which one it is pretty quickly. So let's go to Meshtastic, the application, and we should see a couple here. Oh, one of them jumped up at me and said, hey, I need some help. It's the Meshtastic 365F, so it's going to prompt you to set the region right off the bat. And so just go ahead and do that. I'm going to set it to United States, and we're going to save it. It's going to reboot. Oh, there's another one. It's probably going to jump into that one while this one's doing its thing. Give it a second to reboot, and it'll come back in and connect. There we go. That will disappear if you give it a second. Something you got to do is hit user when it reboots and then set your name here. So I don't know which one this is yet, so I'm just going to call it HRCC for the long name and HRCC for the short name. And then once I figure out which one it is after it reboots, I should be able to figure out, it's this one because the lights are gone. And yep, it's back now. Okay, so now we know it is the Muzi, so I'll change the name again. Now we're still connected to my Muzi here, and I wanted to show you a setting that is going to be very, very important. You will want to turn this on, particularly if you're just walking around with one of these small guys, right? If you don't have a node that's up high, for instance, then you want to make sure you go to Device, and you want to change Client to Client Mute. You want Client Mute to be on. What that means is it's not going to consume a hop using your transmission. And again, since we're all going to be in the Hamfest together, we don't need a bunch of people using their small, lower-powered devices with not great antennas or as effective antennas to retransmit us. There's going to be people that will be running repeaters or stations that are going to be higher up. And so in most cases, particularly if you're using like a sense cap or the Muzi, just go ahead and turn them to client mute and go ahead and save. Now, I'm effectively done with my Muzi boy here, so I want to turn him off, and sometimes holding the button down doesn't work perfectly for that, but it is the node I'm connected to. So if I go to node here at the bottom and click it, and then I click my Muzi guy, which is going to be at the top pretty much always, and then if I scroll down to the bottom, it'll say power off. So I'm going to do that. Yep, I want to shut down the node. And it should power it off in a second. And there it goes. All right. Now this guy can chill back in his toolbox, and I can grab him when I'm ready for some portable Meshtastic. All right, we're going to see a similar trend here. I got a really strong signal. This is my guy, so I'm going to click to him. And it's going to say, hey, this guy doesn't have a region. Maybe? Oh, I've already set him up. Well, there you go. He's already set up. But I do need to make sure that he is going to be in client mute. So I will save that off. And we'll save that. All right, next. Well, I did flash my T-deck. And this one's real easy to set up. So you just bring it up. So we're going to start it. Maybe. Okay, it didn't work. Let's reboot it. Remember, sometimes you got to reboot these off its first load. Yeah, so it's now asking for a region. So we want US, and it's going to be HRCC, and long name is going to be HRCC Chungus. because that's just what it is. And we'll hit OK. And it'll reboot. And that's pretty much all there is to that. It's very easy. Now, something that's important to note with this new firmware is if you go to the chats, active chats are none, Chungus, there we go. There's now 3 chat rooms. Hamvention, Node Chat, and then Yard Sale. And I really like this Yard Sale idea because this is where you can talk to people about what you may be looking for or what you find in the flea market. So that's pretty cool. And go back there. And you got Node Chat, and you got Hamvention Chat. All those things are all there for you. And now, another thing to note is this has MQTT defaulted as off. And I recommend you leave it defaulted as off. We do not need MQTT with the amount of people we'll be running. Note, though, I don't know if this is set to client mute. Yeah, so it's set to client. All right, so you hit the settings, go to client, click the little client, and then change that to client mute. And then make sure you hit OK, because it's got to reboot and do its thing there. So always do that, client mute. Unless you're going to be at a high vantage point, run it in client mute, okay? There's probably enough people that are going to be retransmitting beacons that we don't need to worry about it. And they're going to have probably better setups than we do, particularly if we're just walking the floor. We'll be consuming hops every time you get picked up by potentially hundreds of people using Meshtastic at Hamvention. It's a ham! Isn't that cool? Look at that. They got a ham. All right, this one is totally disconnect or not configured, so bring it back in, and sure, yep, there it is. Meshtastic 3228. Connect to a new radio. It's going to say, hey, I don't know who I am. Pairing request, match it, 151400, pair. You have to do that with the Heltecs. Then it's going to say region. Yep, we're going to set that to USA and save. I tested once where I would hit the settings button instead of going to save and make bulk changes, and it didn't work out right. I think you have to go one by one, which is not ideal, but maybe they've fixed that in subsequent years now using, there it is again, look at that ham, using Meshtastic. I hope they have, but anyway, we'll go back and we'll say user V3 and save. Cool. And then last but not least, we can go to device and make sure it is in client mute mode. Client mute. Save it. Now, last but not least, the most important form of communication, the eyeball QSO, particularly after hours at Hamvention. On Saturday evening from 5 p.m. until they close, the YouTubers will be at the Troll Pub in Dayton, downtown proper, right? Go ahead and meet us there at the bar. We do have a room, but there's a couple of us that are the people that will kick off the room event when we arrive. And we might not all arrive immediately at 5 o'clock. So if you're waiting for us to show up, just go ahead and hang out the bar until you see us, or we'll walk around and collect everybody. But we do have a room. Don't go asking for it until we get there, though, of course. All right, I hope that helps. I hope to see you at Hamvention. I'm very excited to meet you all, and I'm even more excited to see how this new firmware version of Meshtastic goes. By the way, this will work with just about any Hamfest or even just a group get-together with friends and family. You can do all the things that we just did. The Hamvention mode for Meshtastic isn't just for Hamvention. It will work just about on any other place you could be. It's just highly tailored for a bunch of Meshtastic nodes that are going to be in very, very close proximity to each other. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I'm Josh KI6NAZ. Thanks so much for watching in 73.